TGIF, and welcome back to Weather for Weather Geeks, everyone. Hope you had a good Friday. The weather today was not bad. It wasn't quite as mild as yesterday, not quite as sunny as yesterday. We had that veil of high clouds around, but by February standards, upper 30s to around 40 and dry and no snow and no wind. Hey, we'll take that any day of the week. I posted these maps on social media earlier, but in case you missed them, what we're looking at here is the number of high wind warnings issued by each National Weather Service office dating back to the middle of October of 2005. Here locally, there's been 31 high wind warnings issued by the Cleveland Weather Service office and 23 by the Pittsburgh office. Notice the big difference between the Cleveland and Pittsburgh office and the Wilmington, Ohio office, which covers southwest Ohio. Much fewer high wind warnings in southwestern parts of Ohio. Our proximity to the Great Lakes has a lot to do with that. We tend to have windier weather the closer we are to the Great Lakes. Now, when it comes to high wind watches, which we're under currently, the numbers are actually quite a bit smaller, especially by the Pittsburgh office. The Pittsburgh office tends to go from a wind advisory to a high wind warning without the high wind watch being issued. The Cleveland Weather Service office is a little more in the camp of going from a watch to a warning with this particular set of products. But that's why there's a big difference. I think it just depends on the philosophy of each National Weather Service office. Look at the big numbers out west, though. You know, there's a lot of wind in the western U.S. as compared to the east. So we're under a high wind watch now. It's possible we go under a high wind warning. The threshold for both the Cleveland and Pittsburgh office is generally thought of as 58 miles per hour or higher in gusts. I think we're going to be very close to that. So it's possible we'll go under a high wind warning this weekend. The last time Mahoning and Trumbull counties were under a high wind warning, January 10th and 11th of 2017. Columbiana, Mercer, and Lawrence counties were under a high wind warning a little less than a year ago, back on March 1st, 2018. So, you know, it's a product that gets issued occasionally around here, but not all that frequently. All right, a little math and physics. Again, I posted this on social earlier. Some people got a kick out of this. You know, when you do a little math here, how much wind does it take to move an object laterally or horizontally? Doesn't take much wind to blow a leaf around, of course, only a couple miles per hour. For an average trash can that weighs, say, 37 pounds, the surface area 9.1 square feet, 28 mile per hour wind will move it somewhat laterally. A human being, if you consider an average human as, say, 175 pounds, a 67 mile per hour wind is enough to sweep us off our feet. And then a small car or an average car. Of course, the wind has to be quite a bit higher. If the average car weighs approximately 2,871 pounds, 90 miles per hour is what it generally takes, hurricane force winds, to move a car in the horizontal. All right, again, we're under a high wind watch here locally. It's a high wind warning in western New York. Our wind will be bad here. It'll be a lot worse in places such as Buffalo, where the wind can gust to probably at least 70 miles per hour late this weekend. All right, we have a stationary boundary kind of draped through here. This will eventually become a warm front as an area of low pressure forms out across the southern plain states. That's going to drag the warm and even somewhat humid air north. The dew points down towards the Gulf Coast region are pretty impressive this evening. Now, by Gulf Coast standards, this isn't crazy, but, you know, it's still winter, and dew points in the lower 70s are pretty impressive in places such as New Orleans and Mobile. We'll never see dew points like that around here, but some moist air is indeed going to come north. And as that comes north, the atmospheric dynamics will be such that, yeah, a pretty good severe weather outbreak is likely tomorrow into tomorrow night in far eastern Texas, parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee River Valley, the mid-Mississippi Valley, the lower Ohio River Valley. All those places can see some heavy gusty thunderstorms tomorrow into tomorrow night. We might hear a rumble of thunder here tomorrow night, and certainly a gusty thunderstorm is something that can't be ruled out, but actual severe weather is not all that likely here from thunderstorms. Now, non-thunderstorm winds of 55 to 60 miles per hour can cause the same kind of damage as if we were having a thunderstorm. Wind is wind, whether it's in a thunderstorm or not. And we could have some damaging winds around the area on Sunday, despite the lack of thunder. All right, so how about the rain over the weekend? Maybe there's a passing shower or two during Saturday afternoon. That'll be a come-and-go type of thing. Steadier, heavier rain seems likely Saturday night as this warm front punches in. This is when we might hear a rumble of thunder, and rain could be briefly heavy, and temperatures will then rise through the night. We'll wake up Sunday morning with temperatures in the lower, if not middle, 50s. But then here comes the cold front, and the wind will really start howling with the arrival of this front right around midday. Probably one more line of broken showers around lunchtime on Sunday, and then temperatures plummet. We go from the mid-50s probably to the upper 30s by the end of the afternoon, and yeah, I think there'll be a few snowflakes flying in addition to the pretty nasty winds. In fact, it's going to stay pretty windy all the way into Monday morning. All right, the pre-wind rain. Modeling showing 1/4 to 1/2 inch as an average. I kind of like about 0.4 to 0.5 as an average. It's not all the rain in the world, but you don't like to see rain before a big wind event, especially considering the ground is, it's partially frozen, of course, but it's also, kind of damp and soggy as a result of the recent rains and snows. And that just makes it a little bit easier for weak trees to come down in this kind of wind. So I'm still thinking 55 to 60 miles per hour for the wind gusts during midday and afternoon on Sunday. And even into Sunday night, it's still going to be really windy. Now, the gusts may not be quite as high as during Sunday afternoon, but still a 35 to 45 mile per hour gust I think is going to remain possible through a good chunk of Sunday night, and it'll be blustery into at least the first half of the day on Monday. All right, weekend forecast, 47 on Saturday. Again, most of the rain Saturday night, and morning showers will be followed by late afternoon flurries Sunday as those temperatures plummet. That 56 will be like a 9 or 10 a.m. high on Sunday. All right, last night on Weather for Weather Geeks, I showed you the Climate Prediction Center March outlook. I'll do a March forecast next week, probably about a week from now, either Thursday or Friday. This is what the government forecast is for March as far as temperatures compared to average. I think the month is going to start pretty cold. I expect the pattern to change, though, during the second week of March, and a milder pattern compared to the average should take hold for a lot of the rest of the month. And so you see that on this map. The cold has a better time sticking for a while in the upper Midwest, and you see those warm anomalies on the East Coast. Some of those are going to try to sneak in here, I think, once we get rid of the cold flush of air coming out of the Arctic during the first week of the month. About precipitation, right now it seems like there's somewhat decent odds of a wetter than average March. Again, this is the government forecast, the Climate Prediction Center, part of the National Weather Service. I don't have a big quarrel with either of those maps. I'll do my forecast next week. I wouldn't expect it to look terribly different than those two maps. I kind of like what their thinking is for the month of March. All right, over the weekend, we'll be talking a lot about winds. Stay tuned for updates on the Storm Tracker 21 app. Meteorologist Andrew DePaulo will be in Saturday evening, and then I'll be working on Sunday, so yours truly will be here talking about the wind and everything else you need to know as we go through the final weekend of February.